Hello, everyone. First and foremost, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the weekly collective reading. If it's your first time here, you picked a good time to come. I see some of you in chat said you haven't been in a while. Welcome back. What we do basically in this collective is take a look at what's coming through in channeled messages, like right here, right now, a 7-day forecast, a quick pulse on all of the elements, and then a special topic. Today's special topic was to flip the script to get a happy ending, which is, I think, something that we can all get behind. And flipping the script is good because it's about alchemy and looking at areas where things may not be working and shifting that and then embracing things that are working. So it's one of my favorite topics. Thank you so much. Let's say hello to Apollo. Oh my gosh, look at how sweet he is this morning. Hey, buddy. Good boy. Thank you. And why don't we get into those channeled messages? So as I was meditating on your sign, I kept focusing on the energy of like air, breath, and breathing. And first message is to clear the air, communication. There may be something that you need or want, or there might be something that's bothering you. This moment in time is where you really want to lean into articulating that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It can just even be like talking to someone and saying, how's it going? What's going on with you today? And initiating just a natural conversation and then eventually getting into what it is that you need to talk about. But clearing the air, the act of breathing in and of itself is so powerful because speaking of alchemy, it helps you pull in new energy and then get rid of stuff that you don't need. That's why we usually take a deep breath before we begin. And if you ever notice when you get good news, bad news, whatever, sometimes you have to take a deep breath, right? Usually not so good news. It's like, sigh, because you're getting rid of the tension. Your body's relaxing a little bit. You're fueling and oxygenating the blood. And so breathe. And in these times where you can, a zillion different things can happen in one given day, we have to keep breathing. And we need to keep talking. And so those are the first two messages. The other one was more of an image of hitting the snooze button. And it can indicate two things. One, this week ahead, there could be a little bit of hanged man energy where you're met with some delays, but it's not permanent. A snooze button tells me 5 minutes later, 5 days later, something's going to happen. For you, it could also just show a little bit of depletion of energy and vitality, which was why breathing came through as the first message. It's okay to hit the snooze button once, but after you've done it the 10th time, you're running late and you're tired of hearing the beeping. So don't hit it too many times. Try to figure out why you're feeling that sense of procrastination, delay, or depletion. And when we look at the cards, if I identify any of those sources, of course, I'll bring them forth. So those are the channeled messages for today. Let's go ahead and get into a 7-day forecast, helping us get practical and tactical, really kind of outlining what this week is going to look like. All right, while I do that, quick reminder, if you haven't already done so, subscribe. It will allow you to chat. It also helps the channel, so thank you in advance. I already see we have some people giving back in chat. I'm going to gift some memberships too at some point today because I have some to gift, but you can always show support with super stickers, super chat, etc. All right. Per my note a moment ago, let's meditate. Take a deep breath. Let go of anything that you're bringing into this reading that is not helpful. Stress, anxiety, questions. At this point, we just want to see what's coming through. You can see we've got a storm coming in Monday, but imagine that there's a break in the clouds and the sun is shining directly overhead. And feel that sense of warmth and connection to Source. Invite in your angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. I'll do the same. And let's get started, folks. All right, we shall begin. All right, we're going to start off with the energy of today. One breath at a time. We have Temperance coming through. Typically, the Temperance angel has 1 foot on the water, 1 foot on land. Here we can see it's a little bit of an alchemist, and it always is the case because usually there are 2 chalices, and it's a balancing act. So for some of you, you're feeling on Sunday there's a lot going on, and it's important for you to feel like you're supported, like you're okay. So please, 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 I've been stressing this over the past few days, make time to meditate. Meditation can simply be breathing. And I say simply, it's still a very profound thing, but make time to just breathe. And what we did at the beginning, I mentioned it in the Pisces reading, I think, a minute. You can take 1 minute and just say, let's let go of this. I'm going to take this and make it the best day possible, and I can deal with anything that comes my way. Bam, you just meditated. You just energized yourself a little bit. So a single breath can actually constitute meditation. Imagine if you do 5 or 10 more. Imagine if you make it more than a minute. But give yourself time throughout the day to pause before you pick up the phone. Pause before you send the text. Pause before you do the email. That moment of contemplation, silence, and tuning in, that's going to help you observe things easier, and it's going to take some of the fog away from whatever's going on. Gentle steps towards progress. There's always a path behind the angel. So once you give yourself a moment to tune in and pause, the path will be revealed to you. Okay? So it's a good day. Just avoid extremes. That's ultimately what temperance literally means. So avoid extremes. Take it one step, one breath at a time. You will be fine. Let's ease into the beginning of the week. On Monday, we have the Three of Cups coming through. An optimal day to connect with others. So if you want to have a meeting, schedule a date, get out and mix and mingle for professional reasons, all of those are welcome. And I was also mentioning, one thing that I like about this is we see that those kind of like strings that are getting tied around the tree. You never know what a connection might bring you. So sometimes you meet someone who might be able to open a door. You might have like a friend of a friend of a friend. I'm going to do a brunch later today with a group of people that one is a friend of a friend and another one's a friend of a friend of a friend. So those multiple connections, the branches on the tree, can happen when you start to socialize. I met them 20 years ago at a party. So you have to sometimes RSVP yes. Do some social stuff. Get out there. Even if you're just getting out into the public, sometimes we need the energy of people around us to feed and fuel us a bit. And that's what we're getting with this. Some things that could be advisable and not advisable. Besides the sort of like mixing and mingling, celebrate life's little victories. This is a celebratory and joyful card. And the thing to avoid is going to extremes and loose lips. Even though this card is in the upright position, sometimes, especially if you are inebriated or just having a good time at a party or something, you want to be mindful of who you're talking to, what you're saying, because this card is also one of gossip. So don't gossip. All right, on Tuesday, we have the Ace of Pentacles, an opportunity, could be knocking. Are you ready to answer? That's the question here. We also see like an early rising energy. This is a day not to hit the snooze button, going back to channeled messages. So if there's something that you have committed to do, keep your commitments. If there's something that you want to do, initiate the conversation and be the first one to ask the question. And know that pentacles are much like a seed or a bulb that you plant in the ground. Oftentimes you won't see immediate return on energetic investment, but it will come. And it usually comes through persistence and a perseverance. So plant the seed of intention. Plant your seed of intention. Get up early. Be the first one to connect. And if someone knocks, answer. Like this is like I'm speaking figuratively. So if you get a text, if you get an email, etc., answer that call. No snooze buttons. Also, it could just be a great day for you to get connected with what your goals are. So goal planning is also great on Tuesday. All right, middle of the week, we have our first reversal, Six of Wands, reverse position. So don't beat yourself up if you're not making all of the deadlines that you've set. Remember that success is something that you get to define, and oftentimes you need to lead the charge. So whether or not you're seeing immediate returns or immediate feedback, that shouldn't matter if you're in alignment, if you feel connected to what it is that you're doing. Peer pressure, familial pressure, and again, old patterns of having to overachieve could be coming forth at the midpoint of the week. So be gentle with yourself and know that, you don't want to rush something that you want to do successfully. You want to do it right, and you want to do it because it feels right. Also, with this card, we don't always want to follow the group. Being a leader means sometimes stepping into that lonely role of not, like I said, not always having people around you. So you may be deviating, you may be going down your own path and redefining what success feels and looks like for you. Ultimately, though, even with the Six of Wands in a reverse position, there's a chance for a favorable outcome. Compromise is probably necessary, okay? We had 2 cards sticking together as we looked at Thursday. So the first one is arguably one of the best cards in the deck, the Star card. The way to keep the star energy working in your favor is to allow things to flow naturally. So the star, much like Temperance, usually has cups and there's things flowing through it. Here we just see sort of the connection to source. Don't second guess what you're getting on an intuitive download. If it feels right, do it. If it doesn't, don't. Also, try not to change yourself to please other people. This is a card that really leans into being one's authentic self, okay? Could be an Aquarius coming through as well. Behind it, we have the Knight of Wands. So moving forward an idea. There could also be quick developments happening, and it's a matter of, can you keep up with everything? You can, because we have the Star card. The Star card is conspicuous, it is authentic, it's typically a leader, and if there's something that you want to champion or shine a light on, from a work and school perspective, these are really good. There could also be some interesting person coming into your life. This is someone, if I'm looking at like a love reading and the star comes through, that's a deep soul connection. Dare I say, like the word soulmate is overused, but it could be a significant connection where this person brings something bright into your life. And this is passion. So it could be a fire sign. It also just indicates passion. They may make the move, the first move, or they may come out of nowhere. Be willing to also use the element of surprise to your advantage, because, like, again, these are very impactful, bright cards. The Knight is bold, the Star is bright, and if you want to make a splash, make an announcement, do something different, Thursday is your day to do just that. As we look at the end of the week, Friday, what we see here is the Hierophant coming through, showing structure, order, sometimes a gatekeeper. But what I do love this particular version of it, it almost feels like you get an approval. So if there is an arbitrary gatekeeper, let's say you had to put in an application for a loan or for, for a visa or whatever you're trying to do, like these things require levels of approval. It feels like it's marching through the levels of approval well. One thing to know with the Hierophant, if it's in the upright and if it's kind of representing a gatekeeper, sometimes you just have to go through that process. It may not be the most fun, but sometimes there's no alternative. So know when to fight the fight and know when you have to just kind of like play the game of bureaucracy. And this is a day where you might have to lean into the bureaucracy. When it comes to your own life, get organized. The Hierophant is deeply structured and organized. So if you were going to build something, Hierophant energy empowering the building shows that it has the capacity to last and to hold up over time. So there you go. This is also teaching and mentoring energy. So if you want to find a mentor, great. Make sure they're open-minded enough, because this is a very traditional card. And if you want to teach, make sure that you're also being a little bit more modern and open-minded in your approach, because it tends to be a little bit older. All right, let's take a look at what's coming through this upcoming Saturday. We have our second reversal, the King of Swords in reverse. King of Swords doesn't mince words, but doubly so when he's reversed. Oftentimes, just like Justice reversed, this can just be a matter of saying no, or saying, wait a second, a course correction. This isn't what we agreed to. And then adding constructive criticism. He's not afraid to be critical. He's not afraid to be direct. What you want to avoid is coming across too harsh or having a tone or timing that is not optimal to get the outcome that you want, okay? So take a moment to breathe and ask yourself, is this the right time? Are these the right words? And sometimes practicing with someone, making sure that the way you hear it is the way that they hear it as well. And that is just a great way to communicate too. Just say, are there any questions? Hold space, wait. If you see body language, check in with somebody. See if you also heard what they had to say correctly. These sorts of active listening and communication can help avoid a misstep or miscommunication in the long run. If there's something that you need to edit or change, this is a great day to do that as well. Again, less is more, ultimately, is what the King of Swords is teaching us. But sometimes comes across too direct, so be mindful of that. All right, the most challenging card I can already see is a week from today. We're going to meet next weekend anyway, so we'll sort through it. But we have the Devil card coming through. In this one, the Devil, it's like the cat's got your tongue, the devil's got your tongue. And he's using words to tie you in. So be very mindful of what you commit to over the next 7 days. If you don't want to do it, if you can't do it, if something seems fishy, don't say yes. Also, when you're looking at a contract, make sure that you understand all of the different nuances to it, because this devil is going to hold you to your word, even if the contract is unfair, because the devil doesn't care. And if there's something that you don't like, and you're thinking, well, at least it's the devil you know is still a devil. So let's not do that. Let's deviate. Let's find a better match. In conversation, I mean, we're a week away from this, but what you want to avoid is putting your foot in your mouth. I'm just thinking of speech, communication, the tongue, because of the way that this card is viewed. If you don't know something, a good leader, a great leader, in fact, would say, that's a fabulous question. I think we need some time to research it. Why don't we do that and come back in 1 or 2 days and then discuss? He can also say, or she can also say, you know what, you're asking a question that I'm not familiar with, but I'd like to get familiar with it. Why don't we break out and have a conversation and let's figure this out? Because you're not going to pretend that you know something, say something that's wrong, and then get held to account for that. It's better to say, we need more time to discuss this. I'm not willing to make a decision today. I don't have the information. And if we make one, I hold you responsible for forcing it. Like, you can actually flip it on them and they're not going to want to do it. So there's multiple ways. You can do it easy, or you can do it the King of Swords way, which I just did, which is, this is going to be on you if it fails, because I'm warning you. And I want to get this in writing. They won't do it. They'll give you time. Be strong. Push back on the devil. The devil usually will go in the other direction when it comes to that, but you got to protect yourself when that happens. If there's an opportunity in love that comes through and the person doesn't want to get committed to you, or they're already with someone, or they're wishy-washy, or you get a bad vibe, listen to those instincts. With people, projects, environments. I know that invariably when I have stepped into certain situations, I know at the beginning if it's right or wrong. And I mentioned like a month ago, I'm still potentially looking at places, but like I was looking at an apartment and I stepped in and I was like, this isn't it. There were problems and it was only going to get worse. So you know that sometimes your first day at a job, your first conversation with a new person that you've met, or when you step into a room. Have you ever stepped into a room and you can feel it's heavy because there's been an argument and you can't quite tell, and then you see people's expressions and body language, and energy's real, and you can pick up on it. And when you listen to it, you're protected. And when you don't, El Diablo pays us a visit, and it's not good. All right, so I gave you tools to avoid the devil. Let's take a look at highlights and lowlights for the week ahead. And here's what I see. Highlights. It actually feels like there's multiple highlights here, but the star card's the best. So I'd actually say Thursday is fantastic. And we got a double card here with the Knight of Wands and the Star. So honestly, everything you touch, it feels like you've got the green thumb, amazing things. Just be yourself. I think a close runner-up is Tuesday, because we have a new opportunity coming through. And the rest of the week is very manageable. Monday is the best day for meeting up with new people and getting things set up on Friday. Hold on a second. Apollo's chewing on something, so. All right. Thank you for being patient. For all my pet aficionados and owners out there, you understand when a dog needs a snack, they need a snack. All right. Let's now take a look at the next portion of this reading, which is going to be the elemental breakdown. So all of the readings are up for the month ahead, and this is going to just give us a pulse check on what's going on this week. Okay, so with the elements, we're going to look at fire, earth, air, and water, one card for each of these elements, and then we'll break it down. And maybe I'll use a different one for this too. Hold on a sec. I'm shaking it up a little bit with some of these. All right, fire, earth, air, and water. All right, we're going to start off with fire signs first. This is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Eight of Wands coming through for you. Ultimately a very good card, but the direction in which you're headed, Spirit's asking you, does it align for you? Does it make sense? I love that we see a horizon here. I remember back in art class, like in the second or third grade, one of the first things that we learned how to do was create perspective with lines. So this is beautifully illustrated. Look at the rising sun. Again, early bird gets the worm, don't hit the snooze button messages coming through. With the Eight of Wands in reverse, it's asking you to slow down for a moment and course correct. Check your internal GPS and ask yourself, does it feel right? Because there's no doubt, here's the good thing, with the Eight of Wands, progress is being made. You are moving faster than you might imagine, which is great, but you just have to continue to breathe, direct your energy, and trust that you're headed in the right place at the right time. But if you're not, then do the course correction that you need to. This is also a community card, even though we don't see all of the people on this. So take time to stop along the way. In life, sometimes we feel like it's this, like you're trying to go through like a, what am I trying to say? Like it's a race. It's not a race. It's actually, yeah, a sprint. That was it. Thank you. A sprint, but it's a long distance run. And if you don't slow down to breathe and take some time, you're not going to run. You're going to run out of energy. So resource management, fuel management, time and energy management, all of these things matter. And then, of course, going internal and asking yourself, is the direction in which I'm headed the correct one? I had to close my eyes and just kind of tune in because a lot was coming through. You can change your mind. You can change your direction if you want to. Ultimately, it's a productive week, particularly for projects and learning something new. Okay? All right. So good things coming through for fire signs, but ask yourself, do I like the direction in which I'm headed? Moving on to Earth, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, we have the Ten of Wands. This is a slightly different interpretation. So this person took all of the wands and kind of created the spokes of a wheel here. But with the card in reverse, two things. Oftentimes the Ten of Wands can feel burdensome. It's like, can I do this? Should I do this? Is this right for me? So what you can do if you're feeling the burden of the Ten of Wands is simply to delegate, to ask for help, to just work a little bit more smarter. This is also, we can take it literally, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So something could be more difficult or feel more difficult because there's a pattern out there that already works. So this is saying, let's lean into the things that have already worked historically for you and for others and make the most out of them. There may also be a need to pull back a little bit from travel, or we have a couple steps forward, a couple steps back, and we're trying to make sure that we're making progress. Lots of course correction energy this week. What we can discern from that message is frequent check-ins and frequent breaks will help you check and make sure that you're not going off path or off course. I think partnership energy would be favorable for these two elements, for fire and for earth, because when there's someone else there to keep you accountable, check the facts, help you out, share the load, both of these cards can be elevated and will feel a lot easier. The last thing here with the Ten of Wands in reverse is, are you dragging your feet? Is there something that you need to do, but you're not doing? Because this is a card of travel, movement, and completion. So sometimes we drag our feet and we hit the snooze button, and this is the week where Spirit's saying, let's just get it done. And it feels like by the middle of the week, you're already there, or if not, they're halfway there, okay? Let's move on to air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. A feeling of being stuck. I mentioned at the beginning that the snooze button could be the hanged man. You may either not be making progress on something, feeling a little lethargic, receiving a literal delay, or there's just a plateau. And none of these things are terrible, by the way. So if you feel like you're not making progress, there might just be stuff going on beneath the surface. The hanged man has usually a halo, but in this situation, the rising or setting sun around its head. Illumination is what it's about. It's saying, look at this. That's not happening, so you can focus on this instead. It's also saying, follow the light, follow the energy. Where are you feeling some sort of an igniting sort of ignition energy? That's where you want to go, where the sparks are, where the passion is. trust your ideas, trust your intuition, and don't rush. One thing I was talking to a neighbor about the other day is like a long time ago, like 2017 or 2018, I had a concussion. And I remember the neurologist said, now you're at a point where you can't push yourself as much as you used to. Where you had 100%, now you have 90%. And if you overdo it, you are going to get vertigo, you're going to get dizzy, it's not going to be good. And I listened to him, and he's right. From time to time, if I overdo it, I can feel it. And it's not, you don't want to push yourself too much. So sometimes it's okay to just sit still, because you'll save yourself from burning out. And Spirit is very interesting that sometimes when a delay comes through, it's almost like it's holding you for a second and then letting you go exactly when you can connect with the synchronicity. So it's a necessary delay that provides illumination and often aligns you to a future synchronicity. And during the delay, you might discover something that you didn't know before or didn't see before. And if you have extra time, you can spend it on getting healthier, perfecting a project, learning more. Lean into the extra time. We don't get many of those plateaus in life, so it's just saying breathe, slow down. You'll see something when you stop trying to look for something that isn't there, okay? All right, moving finally now to the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, we have the Empress in reverse. The Empress in reverse can represent someone in your life that tends to swoop in and want to kind of like... It's like a helicopter mom or dad that doesn't trust you, and they're constantly asking, how are we doing on this? What do you think about that? They don't allow you to fully step into your power. So this is reclamation of power. This is also self-care, because we have like the universal divine feminine in this card. And sorry, there's a hair that's driving me crazy there. For those that have curly hair, you understand. All right, so this is a moment for you to take care of yourself. If there's something that you've been avoiding, like going to the doctor, going to the dentist, doing something that will support you, it's saying now is your moment to do that. Because if you're constantly giving and giving but not receiving, then eventually the battery, just goes to empty, and that diminishes the life of batteries. If you know that they're supposed to be charged frequently, unless it's like a certain type. Most modern, like for your watch and phone and everything, you don't want it to go to zero, because it actually damages the battery. So just the same thing goes for you. If you're trying to operate on 3 hours sleep, it's not going to be very good. Last night, we had a false fire alarm at 2 a.m. in the morning, and then another one at 5, and I'm like, okay, enough. If you haven't had a lot of sleep like that, it does affect your communication skills. So make sure that you're not burning the candle at both ends. There may also be some healing that you can do with your parent or parents, and also just general control energy coming through, where people may be coming through and testing your authority and your decisiveness on certain things. So know who you are, know what you want, and lean into that confidence. All right. Let's get into the special topic for today, which was to flip the script and to make a happy ending. We're going to see where things are aligning, where there might be some opportunity for movement in a different direction. All right, let me decide which deck we're going to use for today. I think we might use this one in the spirit of like different energies. Here, I'll pull a couple that can give us some insights. Let's see. Yeah, I think one of these two. Okay. All right, so we're going to go with this deck. All right, so welcome everyone. Again, we're in the special topic portion of this, so we're going to be taking a look at how to make your happy ending, flipping the script, but also like alchemically what it is that we need to focus on to turn things in the right direction. All right. So this is a beautiful deck, but it's catching the glare. There we go. And it's also gigantic, so I'll do my best to kind of get it to fit in. All right. Let's take a look at what's coming through for your catalyst. All right. So we have this anchoring energy here, and it says stranded. So for some of you, the hanged man energy that I picked up on a couple of moments ago is coming through loud and clear here. This feeling of, am I stuck in this moment? Am I stuck, full stop? So I always like to remind people of the sort of analogy of imagining that you meet yourself for the first time in a bar or something, or restaurant. And how would you introduce yourself? How would you describe your current situation? Would you start off with, hi, whatever your name is. So I'm stuck in my life. I feel really frustrated. Nothing's working, and I don't know what I'm going to do. It would be a hard start to the conversation. So imagine instead if people asked you a little bit about your life, you could say, you know what? I finally know what I want. What I'm discovering and trying to figure out, the specifics of is how I'm going to do that. So I'm really excited to be moving past a situation that hasn't been fulfilling. I'm starting school. I'm looking at hopefully within a year or so doing this. You get strategic, and it's like, oh, this person's doing things. It's the same person. They're just looking at two different ends of the spectrum. One is looking at the past and looking at what's around them. One is planting seeds, getting curious, moving things in a different direction. So when I look at this, the anchor can be removed. You can pull the anchor back up and start moving in a different direction. And it's just the decision that I don't want this. The fact that I don't want this is an illuminating piece. Like knowing what you want and don't want is really, really valuable. There are friends and family members that are in my life that still don't quite know what it is that they want to do. They're just kind of winging it. And that's okay. I've done that from different points in my life, but it's far better to know incontrovertibly, without a shadow of doubt, I don't want this, and I absolutely want that, because then you know how to start to open up tools to help you achieve letting go of one thing and creating another. So if you know what you don't want, you're already 3 steps ahead of most people, okay? Now just figure out how you're going to bring into fruition something that could really help you. And again, it's just taking one step at a time. Remember the temperance angel for today? That's it. Breathing, weighing things out, and deciding what is my first step going to be in this sort of travel. Okay. So you are not derailed. You are just deciding. And imagine how you would create that conversation. I went to a really ridiculous hyperbolic version of it, but a lot of times we find ourselves saying things that end up being self-fulfilling. I don't have luck in this. This hasn't been working. It's okay to do that with the therapist or a friend that you can trust. But when you're starting to, if that's the only thing that's going on, then change it. We're in alchemy today. So I'm going to help you alchemize all of these different things and thoughts. So if you are stuck, you are really just pivoting and deciding how and when to take that next step. And you're really deciding in this moment in time, what don't I want? And how am I going to navigate it around it? And what would that conversation be if I were telling someone what steps I was going to take? And that will be your to-do list for the week ahead. Okay. So let's look at your center card. We have the Princess or the Page of Pentacles, and it's in the reverse position. For some of us, it's difficult because we've been taught not to say, I want this. It's okay for you to want something. In fact, you're going to be more successful, more powerful, more satisfied when it's something that you want to do, when you're at a place that you really want to be. And so this page of Pentacles is pondering. Am I in? Am I out? Do I want it or do I not? Also, is it worth the time and energy I'm putting forth? Because if it isn't, then is it worth what you're getting, in the long run? So really make sure that you're committed, you're connected, you're inspired, and you're being appreciated. Resources come in multiple ways: thanks, support, opportunities for growth. But if you're not receiving those, then you're just giving, and it's exhausting. A page in reverse is going to ask for what it is that they need. And before committing, remembering that we had the devil coming through this upcoming Sunday, you could say, I can do this provided that you help me with this and this. She's realistic. She's not going to overextend herself. And if she doesn't get the support that she needs, she's not going to commit to things. And so these are the things that we can take to heart, okay? But investing in yourself, that's actually a great thing right now. Whether it's time for rest, additional focus on your health, learning something new in school, somehow prioritizing personal development and personal health, okay? And yeah, I was looking at questions in the chat. Someone's saying, is her pentacle a mobile device? It could be in today's sort of modern world. She's really looking at something and saying, do I like this? But in a mobile sort of device, what she could be doing is learning. That's why I'm looking at this as, because one of the ways that you can invest in yourself is to study, to go to school, to learn something new. Okay, what's crossing the card? The Nine of Pentacles, one of the most fiercely independent cards in the suit of Pentacles, but also just in the minor arcana. She is connected with success. So where the Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment, this is just, I'm going to do it. This is just success in a different font, if you will. Because this is a really different version of it, by the way. So typically, you would see someone that is overdressed for the occasion, a much bigger bird, and then the trees and vines are like much more richly growing. So this is the springtime of the Nine of Pentacles, not the summer, which we normally see. So the cherry blossoms haven't blossomed yet. The grass is still just coming back from its state of hibernation. And she isn't overdressed for the occasion. So there's so much potential. It hasn't shown itself yet. So this card on top of that Page of Pentacles tells me that you put the two together because the page can be a 1. It's a 10 or a 1. And this is a 9. So you've got the 10. So you're very close. It could be a partnership opportunity, an unlikely partnership, because the page is a little bit more focused on themselves and the Nine of Pentacles could do it on her own. So if there's a way to bring together two fiercely independent people right now, great things could happen. But anyway, Nine of Pentacles is telling me that it hasn't shown up yet, but it's about to. I'll pull the traditional card while we're talking. What you want to do is in your meditation and in your heart and in your mind, imagine that you're already in the ridiculously lush Nine of Pentacles moment. Because when you apply for a job, when you talk to someone new, when you engage with a customer or whatever it is that you're doing, they're going to pick up on the future state. So we have spring and summer. Can you see it? So the trees, the bushes, the flowers, they haven't quite bloomed. And in this one, it is bright, it is autumnal, it is the golden hour, everything looks amazing. But it takes time, and that's the little snail down there. So you're just at the beginning of something fantastic. Imagine that those trees and all of the sort of pentacles that we're planting are going to be more fruitful than they are at present, okay? That means we're about one season away. I read in the Northern Hemisphere, so I realize it's a different season in the Southern. So just give it 3 months, 2 to 3 months. And really, we're in February, so March and April start to bring us into that. But 2 to 3 months, then you're going to see those flowers bloom, okay? The deep past. If you haven't already embarked on something, now is the time. We have movement and release coming through. So literally what Spirit just told me was the writings on the wall. Some of you already know that you were supposed to step into something different. And there could be regret, anxiety, or frustration that you didn't do it, that it's not happening, that there's no indications. But the Nine of Pentacles with the buds on it, and now the Six of Swords, shows me that there's wind, and it's eventually going to be the wind in your sails. It just takes time sometimes for everything to align. So was it the air signs that had the Hanged Man? This is for you too. But you can also take the oar and create some movement on your own. So either trust that, the winds of change are blowing, or take the oar and row for yourself. Are you the person steering the ship, or are you the passenger? That's the other question. And could the anchor be emotional baggage? Are you taking too much stuff with you? What do you really need for the next leg of the journey? Lots of nautical themes coming through on these. Because when you travel, you can't take everything. One of these days, eventually, I may go to a different country. And if you're going to do that, one thing that's changed for me is I don't buy stuff as much. I think to myself, if I had to travel, would this come with me? So you think from a different mindset. Even if I know I'm going to move again, I'm like, I don't need stuff as much. I just need what I need, and everything else, put it on pause, because one day it's probably going to find itself in a box or a storage facility, and that's not worth it. So whether it's emotional baggage, actual things that you're carrying, travel lightly, let go a little bit. And also when it comes to maybe being burned in the past, know that those feelings of, is this going to happen again? They hold you down, they hold you back. Just row one step at a time, one breath at a time, and see where it takes you. Because in the recent past, we see it's going to be fine. So you already know. You made up your mind. I need to do this. I need to change. I need to move in this direction. When you lean into the knowledge, then we have the World card. It happens faster than you think. So change is so close. That moment is so close. You can taste it. But if you lose sight of it, or start to put these sort of feelings of, oh, here we go again, it's not going to happen, you anchor the movement. So just think, today could be the day. Think big. Think bigger and more expansively than you have in the past. Or be open-minded and open-ended. All of this or greater, one of my favorite taglines for meditating, or for manifesting. I'm ready for this, or greater, beyond my wildest dreams. So allow the universe to give you an upgrade, a +1, a level up, okay? You may be thinking of traveling or moving. We've got 2 cards associated with that. You may be thinking of launching, or selling, or expanding. 6 of Swords in the world go hand in hand. This is moving towards this, okay? How do we make it happen? In the crowning position, we'll zoom out just a little bit, we have the Queen of Swords coming through. She speaks it into existence using the I am. And I talked to Pisces about this, I believe. Instead of saying, I'm ready to find love, I am love. I wish I had more money, I am abundance. I wish my health was better, I am health, or I am getting healthier. Let's put it into the affirmative, if just not the actuality of it. And then that makes you resonate with the frequency. Even though it grammatically sounds strange, at least in English, it's what you need to do. So yeah, I am wealth, I am success, I am love, I am happiness. Not just I am happy, but like put yourself in the general energy of it. Then you're going to call more of that into your life. So we're going to use that in our head. We're going to create a better script in our mind. We can say it in our meditations. It may sound weird if you go out into the into the world and say something like that. There's this weird clip on TikTok with I don't know if she was one of the housewives or something, but they go up to her and say, how are you doing? She's like, I'm successful. How are you? Don't do that. That's not going to go well. That's strange. But in your own head, that's okay. Just, there's a time and a place for it. The Queen of Swords in the upright position, using her voice in work and in life and in general. So being more bold, more outspoken, more inquisitive, more engaging, and more engaged. Don't be afraid to speak up. When we're children, sometimes we're taught that you have to raise your hand, that you have to wait until you're spoken to, that you can't interrupt. These are rules that are meant to be broken as an adult because sometimes people will steamroll you if you give them center stage all the time. Sometimes you have to speak up. Sometimes you have to interject. Sometimes you have to ask a question that isn't popular. The Queen of Swords, she does not mind. She will use communication as a tool, sometimes a weapon, to sort of like protect and get what she needs. So King and Queen of Swords are formidable. They are going to come through and say exactly what needs to be said. Don't be afraid to do the same, okay? Near future, 2 cards stuck together. We have, these are great. So the Fool. The Fool is the epitome of not being tethered to things. They just have a backpack or knapsack, right? So they are not carrying the anchor. The big takeaway so far is don't hold on to baggage. Resentment, frustration, vendettas, pain. These things need to be processed. It's not like you just dump them, but you have to process them. And then when you move forward, the number 0 is associated with the Fool. It's clean, it's clear. It's not nothingness, it's space. You're holding space for something different. The Fool would be wise to take a look and see how far the leap is. That's the only thing that needs to happen here. But the Fool isn't afraid to take a leap. It could be 2 steps or it could be 2 stories. The key is understanding what the calculated leap of faith is. You don't have to do it alone. This time we're going to pay attention to loyalty as well. The dog can represent loyalty. And as we take a look at what it's moving toward, we have the 9 of Cups, wish fulfillment. So the hard work, the 9 of Pentacles doesn't just say, I am this and I'm ready for this and where is it? She rolls up her sleeve. She gets out the shovel. She does the work. She shows up early every day. She is a hard worker. The hard work brings you the celebratory energy of the 9 of Cups. So don't give up. And then pretty soon you can be this happy dude at the table with all the cups. 9 of Cups represents wish fulfillment, celebration, joy. It can be someone coming into your life. It can be something accomplished. It's usually very good. It is a card of extremes, extreme highs, extreme lows. If something comes through as an extreme, get outside, touch the ground with your feet, with your hands, ground yourself and say, okay, this isn't going to be every day. This is today. Even if it's the best day ever, you don't want to make a decision in the 9 of Cups. And you probably don't want to have a 10th cup. If you are drinking or doing something, it's sort of like less is more. But speaking of that 10th cup, you're just one step away from friendship, family, new connections, something deeper, something greater. So far, it's actually pretty good. So we may have to work at the alchemizing because I'm liking what I'm seeing. And maybe some of you just needed to know that this anchor isn't going to be there forever. And that feeling, don't say I'm stranded or stuck because it becomes self-fulfilling. Say I'm getting unstuck, I'm moving past this. All right, here's one that we can work with alchemy. So this is you. We have 5 of Cups. Are you going to focus on could have, would have, should have? Are you going to focus on this is wrong? Or are you going to focus on the 2 cups behind that person? In order to get to the 2 cups, grief, release, and the ability to imagine something beyond the present have to happen. Grieving is a personal thing. When it comes to something inanimate, it still carries with it sometimes the same weight. So, like, I had a relative once who was, fired from a job that they worked their entire life. And I would say that they exited that feeling heartbroken and they were never the same because they loved the job and they loved how it made them feel. So don't underestimate like the loss of a home, a job, or some situation like that. What you want to ask yourself is, now that that is out of my life, what does that mean? Like, who am I now? And what do I want to do to work around that? what I've learned also, like when you grieve a person, is the hole doesn't get filled in. You kind of learn to create things around it and explore other parts of your life. It becomes a part of you. It doesn't define you, but you don't just like fill it with stuff. If you do, it's not going to work. It just becomes, it's like kind of, if you see like a divot in the ground where something used to be, a house or whatever, it leaves an indentation, and you just learn to live with that, and you start to create new experiences, and there's other richness that comes through. And so this is saying, I'm not trying to fill it in. I'm not trying to ignore it, but I am trying to see what else there is out there and what I now am without that. Because maybe I'm something greater. I'm definitely something different. There's no going back. And once you realize there's no going back, then you can get your happy ending. Because when we try to replace, repeat, or recapture, we're not seeing what else the universe might be serving up, because it could be serving up a greater than. That may not have been the love of your life, the best job ever, the best home ever, the best experience. It might have been a stepping stone. Or it might have been a learning experience, and then you see something else and it's all the sweeter because you went through that. So whatever loss, change, or pivot is happening, I understand it's impactful, but there's something worth celebrating. The Two of Cups is a joyful card. It's a good card. It's a connecting card. Something better could come from that too. So you're holding space that possibly the best is yet to come, that you could still be surprised by the world. I'm still surprised regularly. 2026 has been like January and February have been surprising. So nobody knows everything. And even when you think you've seen it all, you haven't. And that can go in the positive too. Sometimes we see the shadow energy and we're like, oh my God. But oftentimes we see the star energy too. And so open yourself up to receive a positive surprise. Okay. So we have devil energy in the environment, and the encouragement here is to move away from this, and to allow yourself to really not stay with the devil you know in your life, to focus instead on unconditional love, moving into something that doesn't have like an angle. Like, so if there's people in your life and they always need or want something, these are the frenemies. These are the things that you don't need. So we're looking beyond compromise. The devil you know is still a devil, even if it feels like I've got this under control tonight. Tomorrow is a different day. So we're going to pay attention to seeing something before it happens and then say, you know what? I don't have to do this again. It's in the environment, though. This isn't you. This is something that is pattern-like in your life. You've seen it before. You're seeing it again. This time, when you see it coming, you're not going to hit the snooze button like these two lovers have in the foreground. You're going to look at that El Diablo-like figure in the background and say, no, there's a better path. It's frustrating sometimes because we get connected to sometimes like environments, like I don't want to leave this, or I don't want to leave you, or what am I without that? These attachments anchor us. So if something comes through and it's showing those colors of what you saw before, you can and you will do better than that, okay? Don't sign a contract that isn't fair. Don't repeat a pattern that hasn't fared well before. Instead, hidden under that other card, we see the Six of Wands. So this is coming through yet again. This time it's in the upright position. Hopes, fears, and opportunities. The best is yet to come. I believe in myself even if you don't. I think this has merit. I think this can work. I'm going to do this. There is this newfound sense of autonomy, independence, and clarity. To get to the success card, we have to put you and a deciding sort of like verb after it to bring it into motion. You're the one. You're the love of your life. You're the boss that you need. You're the one that can clear the path. It's about you. And you lead the charge in this situation, okay? But success is within reach. We have 3 cards, actually 4, because I'm going to get into this ace in a second. We have an Ace of Pentacles. We have a Six of Wands. We have the 9 of Pentacles and this hidden 9 of Cups here. So the thing that's holding you back could also, by the way, be a loved one. Sometimes when you're on the heels of success, which you are, someone in your life can step in and say, are you sure you can do that? Are you sure you're ready? Are you this enough? Are you that enough? And when that person comes through, know that they don't have your best interest at heart, that they're just afraid of losing someone that they love. And you're going to be okay with or without that, okay? So in the outcome here, we have a very beautiful, sorry, let me just shift the view here. We have a very beautiful Ace of Pentacles. I like the bear here. This to me is something it's a reawakening. So the bear represents hibernation. And for some of you, you put to sleep, you put to snooze something that you always had. It could be a power, a skill, an understanding, and now it's awakening. And when it awakens, when the bear awakens, you can't ignore it. And now is a chance to really go down that path. A dream that was put on hold. Maybe you had to take care of a loved one that was sick. Maybe you were raising a family. Maybe you didn't have the money or the resources. Now you're thinking to yourself, if not now, then when? That is one thing that I will say after many years on the planet. If there's something that I'm passionate about, I realize there are this has to happen within the next year. This has to happen within the next decade. Because if not, then the decade after that isn't going to get any easier. When you're in your 20s and 30s, it's a lot easier to put things off. When you're 40, 50, 60, not as easy. When you're 70, 80, it's like there comes points where it's like, I got to do this today. I'm not going to live with the energy of regret. I have to get started on this. So if not today, then when? This is really a wake-up call. You have what it takes. The compass also kind of the pentacle reminds me of a compass. It's pointing in the direction that is going to lead to success. That's how the pentacle works. The top kind of goes towards spirit, because I believe the other four are the elements, and the fifth is spirit. So we really want you pointing in the direction of spirit and your authentic self. Okay? Let's expand this to help you out a little bit. And we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to check in on Apollo because he's having a moment. Let's give him a snack. All right, he's happy now. Okay, so we're going to look at the expanded forecast, health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to start off with the energy of health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. My aura is magnetic to golden opportunities. Amen to that. So in order to get happy, in order to get successful, we need to be healthy. And that is going to involve all 7 chakras. And this is going to, now, I remember additive and subtractive kind of like math when it comes to light versus print. So CMYK, when you put all of the rainbow colors together on paper, it becomes black. When you put them all into light, it becomes white. But we'll kind of lean into this. All of these can kind of help you shine brighter, whether it's bright white or golden, either way. So we really want to make sure that all of your chakras are okay. And maybe that's what we'll do if we hit the goal. We did hit the goal. I'll put a poll up. One of the things that we can do is look at the chakras. I can pull 1 card for every chakra. But anyway, leaning into that and meditating into that. And sometimes that's what I'll do for myself. I'll pull cards or I'll just sit down and meditate. And I also have healing hands. So one thing that I'll do is I'll open up my energy or I'll plug into source and I kind of pull. It's like Reiki, but I'll go over my body and I'll see where I feel like there might need to be some healing, and I'll hold the energy there and imagine that I'm siphoning in that golden light and clearing and cleaning out parts of my body. So I've done meditations like that before. We can possibly do that for today too. But anyway, take some time to tune in. And this is a good time for a tune-up. So go to your general practitioner, get a standard sort of doctor's appointment. But also maybe if you haven't done Reiki, meditation, chiropractic work, yoga, something that can also help clear and clean that part of your body, because we are mind, body, and spirit. When I clean the house, I don't just vacuum and mop and clean the counters. I take some sage and some incense and smudge and open the windows up. So we have to do all of that and do some energetic cleaning because there's a lot of heavy stuff right now. So when you start to feel the I am, then you open yourself up to the golden opportunities. And we saw that with Ace of Pentacles. What I also mentioned with opportunities can have to do with health. Overcoming an addiction, which is the devil card in the environment, overcoming an ailment, or being able to build up your body just a little bit, okay? Let's see what else is coming through from a health perspective. For some of you, it's time to move. Move on, move out, move up. The Six of Swords and the World card are showing that in order to grow, in order to get, like, imagine that tree was planted in a pot. It would need a bigger pot, or it needs to be in the ground. Something is keeping you root bound or keeping you in this energy of feeling stranded. So it could be limiting beliefs. It could be space. It could be resources. Something around movement could be advantageous for you. Moving the body is important here too with the Fool, and gentle movements are a part of this. It doesn't always involve, like doing an Olympics sort of sport. It's sometimes just taking a walk or taking a swim. The Nine of Cups, avoiding extremes when it comes to eating, drinking, working, etc., because it is a card of extremes. Just taking one step at a time, not diving into the deep end. So many of you might have already overcome a habit, but there's someone in your environment that still exhibits that or tempts you or pulls you into unhealthy habits. So we want to avoid that kind of energy. Grieving takes many forms, takes different amounts of time for different people. Working with someone to help you with grieving, loss, or frustration. Ultimately, though, we see very positive outcomes in the long run. So once we get rid of this character in the environment and take the necessary move in a new direction, I think you'll be happy. So if you're thinking of moving, it looks good. And it looks like it's not that far off. Like the 9 cups could just be like 9 weeks. It could be a couple months at most, or a couple, like it could be a week if you wanted to go to days, but just give it a little bit of a pause. There's a necessary pause to open up what you're looking for. And this time around, it should be good, the 9 of Cups. Okay? Let's move on to wealth, your resources, your life purpose, and your career. The Oracle card here is the Tiger. The Tiger card is in the reverse position. So first of all, when I look at a tiger and all the stripes, I think of singular, unique, and bold energy. So it's almost like a star in reverse. You have to just lean into the things that are quirky and unique about you because they'll help you stand out. A tiger in reverse is not going to pounce on something. It's going to wait for timing. So the timing may be off. This is why some of you got the Hanged Man. We want to slow down just a little bit. Back to the traditional 9 of Pentacles and the little snail in the corner. It often takes these sort of gentle, graceful movements to bring about what you see in this card. So slow and steady wins the race. Let's break it down briefly. I'm just going to do one card on each of these that pops out of the deck, or one message, so that we can get into the special expanded portion. If you're presently employed, there are a couple things that are coming through. It's your turn to sort of like be recognized. 6 of Swords in the World, expansion. People are looking at your actions and words, and as long as they're aligning to what you said you were going to do, we have an Ace of Pentacles, which could represent a new opportunity for growth, and 6 of Wands, which is success. But guess what? There's someone in the environment that may not be your bestie. Someone could have their own sort of agenda, or they could try to block it. So again, with the early bird gets the worm, if there's something you want, articulate it and speak up first, because someone else may try to beat you to the punch. Other than that, it looks pretty good. But when it comes to don't accept something on a handshake. And if a boss comes through and says, you know what, I think this is going to happen, okay, words are cheap. We need to make sure that this is actually put into a performance plan, that you're given steps, and that you're told how and when it's going to happen. Show me the dotted line on this one, and that's what you really want to see, okay? Otherwise, it's pretty good. But a thin or shaky contract, or an envious person, that's the only sort of thing that I'm seeing here, or you feeling like you can't do it or that you're stuck, because actually the winds of change are blowing in a good direction. Don't get tempted to do something that isn't right. This is true for everybody, but especially here. If someone tries to get you to skip a step or do something against policy, etc., no, 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 no. All right, entrepreneurs, don't ignore something that's broken in the system, whether it's like literally I said the word system, so it could be software. It could be something legally that you need to address. There could be a customer or an employee that is not doing what they should. That needs to be dealt with first. Once that's dealt with, everything else actually looks like it's flowing in the right direction. I like Nine of Pentacles. I like Nine of Cups. What are you going to do for launch? Because these are 4 launch cards, like literally setting sail. That's the announcement. That's things going out into production. These are happy customers. This is money. Just make sure that you can keep up with demand. Just make sure that you've vetted out the name, the deal, like something contractually. That's all that I can see. It's either like in the finances or in the legal contracts. Clear the rights, cover yourself, get some insurance, make sure that you can meet demand. But otherwise, I like what I see here. Okay? All right. If you're looking for a job, whatever you just applied to or whatever you don't feel good about, let it go. There's something here where there's more than meets the eye. Ask more questions, and if it doesn't happen, don't force it. I've had many experiences in my life where I've had a bad interview and I find out later that the job wasn't great. Anyway, I also remember, speaking of this, there was one time when I walked into a company that was a startup. Well, it wasn't a startup. It was a tech company. And I stepped in and it was a sea of cubes. Like it looked like something out of the Matrix, but I couldn't see people. I just saw all these cubicles. And I thought, oh no, I would die here. Like cubicles and offices, and it was so high that you couldn't see anything. It was a very big tech company that no longer really exists. And then I had the worst interview ever. This person, and this was the warning sign. I went to the HR person and she warned me. She said, I just have to tell you, this person can be a little hard on people and you may come out of this not feeling well. And I'm like, what? And he was the rudest person I've ever met. And he did it solely to test and see if I could kind of like take it. And I thought to myself, I don't want this job. I think I walked out at some point. I said, well, I've got to go. Thank you so much. And I told her, I said, that's the worst interview I've ever had, and I'm not interested in this job. And then I told the talent agency, I said, don't send people there. I know it's a big company, but this particular division is bad. And I was so grateful that I know that was going to be my boss. And I looked at this cubicle thing and I'm like, no, 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 no. So I didn't even need cards or intuition. I had eyes, ears, and a body that told me this was wrong. So if you step into something and you see that, run, and you'll never regret it because you just saved yourself a heap of problems. There's something better. Reject the devil reject something that feels bad, and embrace a rejection if it didn't work, because an Ace of Pentacles awaits. So what I see here is a necessary rejection and something that's better. Okay? It's okay to feel crappy about it. Like, I wanted that, but it didn't work, but there's something better waiting. You may want to look at different job markets and different job industries. This can be geographically different. This can be traveling or commuting or telecommuting. You have everything else is coming into focus, but location could be wrong, and that person that you meet with or that company that you meet with could be not it. And I wasn't old then. I was younger, but I was smart enough at that point in my life to know that would have been terrible. I was off the heels of my favorite job ever. So at that point I was like, oh, why would I do this? Even though the job market had changed and we were kind of in a mini recession. Actually, it was the Great Recession when that happened. So I was like, still, this isn't what I need. Okay, so let's move on. Moving on to those we just looked at job seekers. Let's go to students. Students, everything is actually primed up nice for students. Continue to work hard. You're just a few steps away from accomplishing goals and interests, but the living situation, this could be the dormitory, this could be a person in your life that's not going to support you the way that you want or need. There's something environmentally, tangentially around you that constitutes a distraction, a frustration, a temptation, or a block. You can move beyond them. There is a way, there is a methodology around this. Don't let this take you off the path here, which is success. Okay? So you can do this on your own if you need to. You can get help if you need to. But whatever or whoever that is, that also needs to be avoided. There's a clear marker in the environment that you can move beyond. If you're retired, speaking of that, you may decide, I don't need this anymore. This can be selling a house. This can also be a toxic relationship. And you're like, I need to move on from that. We have a very subtle, gentle card here. Whenever it's the Fool, it can just be about deciding to plan a trip with your friends in the same city, state, or country. It doesn't have to involve getting on a plane. It could just be planning a day for yourself, creating some new structures, some new schedules, doing some things potentially with the community too here with the Six of Wands. And maybe there might be like a volunteer opportunity or a job if that's something you're looking for. Okay, now I'll try to go briefer on that, but I ended up just going full on. We'll look at love and relationships here. Well, this makes a lot of sense, particularly because of Cernunnos, devil energy coming through. There's someone in your life that needs to be released. And this reminds me a lot of the Judgment card, things that are rising up. As much as that person may have felt central or as much energy as you might have invested, sometimes you cut your losses in things. 5 of Cups, 5 of Swords, 5 of Wands. Sometimes we just walk away from things because we know that it's more work than it's worth. Let's look at this in a different context. We're going to look at in the present partnership. So interestingly enough, this doesn't have to be your partner. This can be someone in your life, a relative, an ex, a neighbor, their boss, your friend. Someone is trying to come in and get between the two of you. And what you have to have is better boundaries. And you may just send them packing and say, leave us be. This is like, even if it's a relative, you could just say, this is none of your business. So there's better boundaries that need to happen here. This can also represent something that's out of your control or your partner's control. Health, job, living situation. So we don't point the finger at each other. We lean on one another a little bit more. So the Queen of Swords is reminding you the most important thing in any great great relationship is good communication. So communicate more, listen more. We do have a card of like a happy ending here with the 9 of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles. I feel like you can work together, but there's something that is testing the relationship strength. So in this moment, to get your happy ending, it's about releasing that. Now, for some of you, there could have been a bigger issue and you're trying to decide, can I forgive it? I see enough here that it could be forgiven, but it's your choice. I'm not going to tell you what to do on that. But this, the feeling, the attachment, the distraction, that needs to be released. Possibly the addiction too. And that's something bigger. If the partner has an addiction and they're not ready to let go of it, that's a larger discussion to have. Okay. Single and looking. Can you find someone? Yes. We have an air sign coming through here, so it could be an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. It feels like this isn't in your current circle of friends. These 2 cards, 6 of Swords in the World, it's an outside party. So from a different part of the world, from a different circle of friends, from a different walk of life. The only challenge is, are you ready or are they ready? There could be an attachment in the form of, this could be a rebound relationship. This could also be something where you're not ready to commit, or they are, but like something's going on where like there's a lack of alignment. So take your time and don't force things. Could also just be Capricorn energy coming through. I do think though that what's coming through in the future looks good. So again, if something doesn't gel, that's okay. If you go on a first date and it doesn't work, there's a lot of fish in the sea. We've got a lot of nautical themes here. So, but what does come through in the crowning and the outcome is an air sign. So hold out for that, or hold out for someone who's really communicative, bold, and decisive, and you'll be fine. All right. Single and happy, good for you. Release whatever or whoever this is. Take one step closer to a goal. Maybe do some traveling. This can be a decision to go back to work. or to focus on something new in your life, birthing and creating. So there you go. Okay, now let's take a look at the Destiny card, and then we can go into the special portion of this reading. All right, we have Archangel Sandalphon coming through, and the card reads, Building the bridge. Your role is to create the connection between heaven, earth, and all hearts. Okay, no pressure. We're just going to look more at the bridge portion of this. So when you look at where you are versus where you need to go, like your Two of Wands moment, you may focus solely on, well, look at how much space is there. And it's just one brick at a time, one step at a time. And pretty soon before you know it, you'll be there. The bridge takes time to build. But even if you think, oh, the waters are deep or this, once the bridge is built, it's going to be easy to go back and forth. So just get into the act of building and creating and you'll be fine. I like that we actually see what a rainbow really looks like. I found out if you kind of go high enough, sometimes you can see them as a full circle. So things are coming full circle in your life. And you may have just been through one of the most challenging moments, as indicated by the Five of Cups, but something sweet could follow that. Seeing it from that higher perspective is necessary, heaven, earth, and all the hearts. What's the big picture? How does this all connect? Why am I involved in all of this? All right, so all of this being said, let's pull a couple of bonus cards just for this portion of the reading, and then we'll go into the next section, which I'll let you vote on. So for this, what is the one thing that you could write or rewrite in this moment so that your story arc is a little bit better than it is right now? So let's do a different thing. What's the conflict? And what's the solution? All right. Four of Cups in the reverse position. We see the hidden cup behind this person. There's a blessing in disguise. Something didn't go the way you expected. It didn't show up at the time, in the form, or in the way that you wished. And we start this new dialogue with ourselves when this happens. Maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe I don't deserve it. Maybe I was asking for too much. Maybe it's right there. You're just not paying attention. So this is asking you to pivot a little bit in this moment. The conflict, the block, the challenge is this. It's almost like a little kid's voice. Like, I don't want to do it, or it's not happening, or it's not fair. That also very much comes through as I'm tuning into this. It's not fair. They have it and I don't. Or I did this, but I didn't get this. So one thing that's important is to lean into the energy of change. I work sometimes with a coach, and one thing that I'm doing is trying some new things. And she's like, well, that's good because this isn't working and this isn't working. And a lot of people don't look at the writing on the wall. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of my job. So I don't always want to read the writing on the wall, but I do. And so sometimes the writing on the wall says this chapter is coming to a close. But who knows which act of your life you're in? Maybe it's just the first or second. Maybe you haven't reached that climactic moment yet. So let's leave room for a climax, for something amazing, the best, the zenith. It's yet to come. And then the method to get there is through the help of others, friends, loved ones, the inner child. And also there could be love or friendship that surpasses your expectations. Your BFF is incoming. Your perfect sort of like situation is incoming. It's not here now, but it's incoming. Get involved. Find similarly energetic people. So one thing that I have noticed in this phase of my life is there are core relationships that have moved to the periphery. We're still friends, and if I meet with them, they're still like, you can reconnect. But from both parties, there's not a lot going on, so it's just gone dormant. And that's because our energies are in different places. I'm focusing on some things, they're focusing on others. Maybe I'm more spiritually awake, maybe they're more agnostic or they don't care. And it's sort of like just naturally I'm over here and they're over there. So it's okay for that because I'm making room for new Six of Cups energies to come in. And so are you perhaps. So hold space for an upgrade when it comes to all of that. Okay. Now let's go into bonus territory here. So for the bonus, I'm going to put a poll out here. So let's see. we could take a look, and I'm going to let you vote on it. So what would, let me just get closer so I can see it. What would you like for the, I'll put this here so you can hear me, for the extended portion? We can do chakras. We can look at whatever spirit wants. We can also look at love. Okay. I'm putting that out to all of you. I'm going to pick a different deck of cards while we're doing this. By the way, just to say thanks for those of you that are sticking around and waiting, I'm also going to gift a membership or two here. So membership gifting. Okay, so while you're voting, welcome to some new members on me, on the house. Now that I'm caught up on everything, I might do a members video this week as well. All right, it looks like it's probably going to be a landslide of whatever spirit wants because it's like 60%. So I think I'm going to focus on that. I'll leave it up for a moment while I'm doing this, but okay, it's for whatever spirit wants. Thank you to everybody that voted. Okay, show me to all of those that are tuning in some high-level messages. What is it that we need to see in this moment in time? Okay, so let's zoom in. We'll start with this one, which is, how do I take the first step? That's the question that I see when I look at the Fool card. And can I walk away from this? We saw release. Release is easier said than done. So we have a different version of the Fool, someone at like a train or light rail, headed out, not a lot that they're carrying with them, and embarking on something new, but there's hesitation. I want to do this, but how's it going to happen? What will people think? Do I have enough? Am I going to fail? All of that stuff. So breathe, strategize a little, and then start. There's something that is overdue so clearly this week because the Six of Swords and the World card that I just saw in the main spread, in the deep past and the recent past, it's showing me an overdue momentum, action, or step. So it's time to take the first step, and then we have a card that helps this. Suppression, calibration, and flow. The ray was in the reverse position. Don't hold yourself back. The worst that would happen in taking a step and trying something new is it doesn't work or you find out you don't want it. Better than sitting there and wondering what could have happened. Should I have tried this? Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Calibration piece. Really just tuning into the understanding that I want this enough to try and go for this. And then the flow. It doesn't have to happen in any particular timeline. This can be something that, again, it's just the initial step that's going to be laid out, not everything around it, right? Sometimes we feel like we're on the outside looking in. So the Oracle card is the Observer. She has little dandelion seeds flying around her hair. A wish, a desire, and then we have the Three of Cups. Love, friendship, celebration, joy. It always looks greener on the other side, right? So that's definitely one part of this. If you were to talk to people that are putting on that sort of smile and that shows sometimes they're going through things too. But in the moment, they're happy. So this is encouraging you in this moment in time to do things that are joyful. Even when there's a lot that aren't like in the world that isn't going the way that it should, we still need to maintain relationships. We still need to have fun. We still need to celebrate life's little successes and little victories because it's a finite adventure, this life that we have. And one day you wake up and you're like, wow, that went really fast, faster than I thought. When you think back to youth and like how long a summer was or how long a year or a semester or whatever was, it doesn't go that way the older you get. Like there are times when you're like, this is taking forever, but really the years just start to speed by. And that's why people that are older don't want to really say their birthday anymore, because it's like, I don't relate to that age. I don't feel that age, but it's there nonetheless. It's looking at me. So let's enjoy today. There's no guarantees for tomorrow. Today we know. So do something fun today. What have you done lately that brings joy, celebration, and camaraderie into your life? If it's been too long and you can't think of something, make a plan today. It doesn't have to happen today, but do something joyful, okay? Okay. So as we look at the future, it's not about a get-rich sort of thing. The Six of Pentacles is having enough, more than enough, but not so much that it's overwhelming. And I've listened to enough podcasts and news reports about the newest working generation. This is the goal. It's not to get a corner office. It's not to have to manage people. It's like, I just want enough, and I don't want to give all my time and energy to you, the corporate entity, or you, the mom and pop shop that wants me to work all the time. Like, I need a little bit for me. This is the modern goal because money doesn't go as far as it used to. And we have to sort of find a balance, have enough, a little more than enough, and then have enough to put into things that we care about and live life now, not for when we're retired, because even retirement itself isn't guaranteed anymore because it's an expensive world. I honestly think that it's the previous generations that were able to do it. I think really it's people 60 and above that were able to, like, that are currently 16 above that might be the only ones that are able to do it, because every younger generation, like starting with Generation X, for sure. Generation X onward, everybody from like 1975 onward, having a hard time with retirement because of the cost of living. It's not just that. I'm sure there are people from the 1960s too, but I think the last generation, it was like before that. So everybody from like 1975 to 2026, we're just aiming for Six of Pentacles. Will I have enough that I can enjoy life? Will I have enough that I don't have to work until I'm 85 or 90? Because there's no guarantees anymore. So we have to enjoy now. We have to put a little away, but we can't rely on a retirement because none of us are working one job for our lifetime. That ship has sailed. So we have to find ways to navigate the waters and make smart decisions. So don't overdo it, but don't go so sort of like frugal that you aren't enjoying life. It's somewhere in between. Okay. We have the air card. It was reversed. Breathe and breath and mindfulness. Sorry. So this is what's going to get you through. We talked about the importance of breathing. You can freak out about the stock market. You can freak out about interest rates. You can freak out about the politics, or you can decide, I'm going to try to do my best to find places and spaces where I can be comfortable. I'm going to know that some things are out of my control, some things are in my control. What can I control? What can I affect? And what do I need to just let go of? Because there are ebbs and flows and cycles to life and the world, and things change. We are not going to be, it's just like the pandemic. We're in a moment where it's different. The world order's shifting now. So Before it was like the way we were working, the way we were living, all of that. But now it's bigger. There's changes. So if usually we had decades that would go by, now it feels like we have years that go by, and then things completely shift. Technology, artificial intelligence. So I started working when it was the internet. That changed everything. AI and the way that we're automating and putting more kind of like computers into things, everything's changing. So we have to just lean into the change, breathe, and realize I can't go back. I can only go forward. But I can take the best elements of the past with me, and I can also just shrug when people are making bad decisions and know that this too shall pass. So I think that's one piece of advice that can help you not feel like Chicken Little and the sky is falling, okay? So to that end, what do we do to lean into the energy of change? What do you need to focus on being comfortable with ambiguity in this moment in time? Oh my God, with the Four of Cups. Okay. All right. I can work with the dream catcher, but if it wasn't clear beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is what, the third, if not fourth time, the Four of Cups has come through. So is your glass half open or half open, half empty or half full? We have one cup here that is completely full, and it's saying, don't forget about me. I really do feel like things will shift. There is this sort of light at the end of the tunnel. This is a time to lean into your dreams. Let's say something happened like a layoff, or you were fired or made redundant, or you quit in a job, or you broke up, got divorced, lost someone that you loved. These are the moments where we get to reconnect with the dream catcher, with your, all right, now what? The whole reason I'm doing what I'm doing is I was disillusioned with a job and I lost a family member. And it was like, well, I need to do more. And so, there are moments in our life where we wake up and it's just not enough. So let that be sort of like an ignition switch, a catalytic converter, something that's going to help you get into the dream. The dream needs to, there was an old Wilson Phillips song, The Dream is Still Alive. This is a chance for you to breathe life into something different, and it can happen at any age. It's easier when you're younger, but it still happens when you're older. Any age, any phase, if you want the dream enough. So get back into that phase of what if, why not, how can I get that dream? And also ask yourself at whatever age or phase you are in your life, what do I want to do next? Because we get the question as kids, what do you want to do when you grow up? And then we're encouraged or sometimes judged for our choices. But I want you to listen to yourself and encourage yourself. What do you want to do as you continue to grow up? We never stop growing up. That's the illusion. Teachers and parents. We don't grow up. We just keep growing. So what are you going to do when you grow to the next phase of your life? All right. We're about at time here, so I want to look at what you need to know right now. Okay, and tell me one more thing about the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so Wheel of Fortune in the reverse position, if I can hold it. Some of you need to pivot when it comes to money. Some of you are thinking of pivoting when it comes to your job. Some of you are afraid to take a chance, but the wheel is encouraging you to take a calculated leap of faith, provided that you've done the resources, or the research rather. But yeah, we see like casino chips here. I have to bet on myself if I'm not going to bet on anyone else. We're not looking at gambling. It's just saying, I believe in myself. I'm taking this chance. I'm spinning the wheel and I'm going to go for it. All right. And also this shows like a seasonal shift in your life to every season, turn. The wheel shows me things have to keep moving. You're either moving or you're left behind. Okay. 9 of Wands, a card of perseverance. In the reverse position, feeling a little bit battered, a little worse for the wear, sometimes feeling like there's too many thoughts going on in your head. Meditation, exercise, talking. All of these things will help get the thoughts out of the head. Fear, anxiety, and can I, will I, should I, that kind of stuff is ricocheting. Okay, let's take a couple moments here to meditate, and then we're going to take a look at your final question and say thanks. All right. For the meditation, we're just going to do a quick grounding exercise here. Imagine, if you will, that you are a tree in the forest. You're connecting with the tree at the very least. You could lean on one if you can't imagine that you're the tree inanimate. So imagine that you're leaning against the tree, and as you do that, energetically, you melt into it a little bit. And you first send your energy into the planet, following the trunk, tracing the roots, feeling the strength of the mantle of this planet where things are very, very solid. Imagine that your feet can reach all the way to that depth. And now at this point, I'd like you to gently pull the heat, the warmth, the fire from the center of the planet through the roots of the tree, through your feet, through your legs, into your solar plexus. And in this part of your body, you can imagine in this moment that light is moving upward and downward in infinite directions. And each of the chakras are starting to spin clockwise and in the same sort of energy flow and direction, and you see them light up like a Christmas tree. In this moment in time, there is balance, there is power, there is clarity that is flowing through your body. As you take a breath, imagine that the light that is spinning in each of the energy centers moves outward. So now we have up and down, and now it's going to go in all directions and dimensions. Let it go. Any sort of darker energies, fears, anxieties, doubts, thoughts, words, visuals that you've been holding, imagine that it's getting blasted like a supernova out of your energy. And that you also reclaim anything that was lost, was given, was forgotten. All of that energy has come back to you. All of the shadow energy has been sent to the edges of the known universe. And you can focus, at least for this afternoon, on what it is that you need to do. Okay? Take a moment on your next natural exhale. Place your hands on your heart. And I'd like you to focus on one question that you still need some advice on. Gently open your eyes on the next exhale. If you asked a yes or a no, this is a yes, Page of Cups. The one thing that really you need to lean into is believing in your worth. But this represents passion, love, creativity, intuition, and today is a great day to lean into those energies and to take a moment to drink up life's little celebrations and good things. All right, but say what you mean too. Page of Cups is connected to things like I love you or I appreciate you. And on the heels of Valentine's Day, that's a nice thing to do, to extend love and gratitude. All right, folks, we did it again. We made it to the end of this reading. Let's take a couple moments to extend gratitude for those who showed up. Whether or not you are watching this live or on replay, I'm glad that you're here. For those that gave back a little bit more, I also want to say thanks for the fan funding. So give me a moment here to just say thank you to new members, to gifted memberships, to anniversaries, and to stickers. Okay. Before I started here, I saw that, is it Sherry Peters? Thank you so much for becoming a member today. Colette, thanks for the membership and the sticker and for contributing so much to chat today. Let's see. Thank you to Piscean. I can't read after that because it's cut off, but thank you for being the number 2 contributor for your sticker and for being a member as well. Jamie, good to see you again. Thank you for your sticker and membership. Adventures with Me SB, thank you for your sticker and membership. Colette, thank you again for your sticker and membership. Wendy, good to see you. Thanks for the sticker. Sugar Shaker, thank you so much for your sticker and membership. And celebrating 35 months of membership, thank you so much to S. Lynn. Good to have you here, and good luck on the house. I hope that everything works out. Colette, thank you again for your sticker and again for the membership. OWOHIRPON, thank you for being a channel member. It looks like you're renewing the channel membership. I appreciate it. Alice, thank you for the sticker. K&X420, thanks for the sticker and membership and showing up every week. Colette, thanks again. Colette, thanks again. Colette, you helped us get to that expanded portion today. 4 or 5 in a row. Thank you very much. Suzanne, thank you for your sticker. Eslyn, thanks again for the sticker and membership. Teresa, good to see you. Thanks for your sticker and membership. Nikki, thanks for your sticker. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're enjoying the readings. MP Leisman, thanks for the sticker. Colette, thanks again. Colette, you were the MVP today. Number one in contributions, giving a lot of stickers. I appreciate that. Okay, Yolanda, thank you for your sticker. Adventures with me, SB. Thanks again. Shelly, thank you again for the sticker and contribution. And for the membership. Sinister Days, same thing. Thank you for being a member and for giving the sticker. Let's see. Is it Evie? Ava. Maybe it's Ava. Ava, thank you so much for your sticker. Colette, thanks again. Heather, good to see you. Thanks for the sticker and membership. Shelly, thank you again for the sticker and membership. Colette, thank you one more time. Much appreciated. Definitely earned that number one badge today. Lee, thank you so much for your sticker. Alexa, thank you for your sticker. Heather, thanks for gifting a membership. Welcome to the folks that were able to get it with my membership. And then Leslie, thanks for sticker, membership, and for your kind words. So I hope that everybody enjoyed today's reading. You can check out all of the sign by sign monthly readings for this month on the main channel page. Daily readings, of course, every day, and I'm here every single Sunday. If this is your first time, I've done it pretty consistently since almost like 2019, 2020, so 6 years or so. It's been a tradition, if you will. So from my heart to yours, wishing you a great week ahead. Thanks for the time. Thanks for the participation. And more things to be coming this week. Since I'm a little bit caught up, I can maybe put out a bonus reading. So keep an eye on the channel page. If you haven't signed up for my newsletter, you can check out my pinned comment. I put a link to how to find me on social media, how to sign up for that. And I hope to see all of you very soon. Again, here are all the links. It's Nicholas Ashbaugh on all major platforms, including Substack. My newsletter and all of those links can be found on my official website. Thank you to everybody that gave back today. Wishing you so much love and light. Have a fantastic week ahead. From my heart to yours. Take care. Bye-bye.